Yo guys, it's your boy The Purist and we're here to talk boxing. Yo guys, it's your boy The Purist and we're here to talk boxing. Yo, it's your boy The Purist and we're here to talk boxing. Yo, it's your boy The Purist and we're here to talk boxing. Yo, it's your boy The Purist and we're here to talk boxing. We're going to start off with something new. It's called the Boxing Rundown. Just going to run down all the latest news, events in boxing. So let's get into the big fight. Last weekend, we had Anthony Joshua vs. Kubrat Pulev. Now, there's been a mixed reaction to the fight. Some people think AJ looked amazing, that he improved on certain aspects. Other people thought he looked bad. And we're going to talk more about the fight on the podcast, but I'm just going to talk about a few little things that I saw in the fight. Going into the fight, I always spoke about how Pulev had a jab, but not much else. And it was going to be interesting to know how Joshua adapted to that jab. And now I think this is the first time I've seen Anthony Joshua go into a fight conscious of what his opponent is going to do. He came out, first time I've ever seen him come out like this. So he's got his front hand ready to parry the jab. What that does is it takes away his right hand to a degree. So it's harder to really get the same amount of leverage on your right hand. But at the same time, it protects you from your opponent's jab. And with Pulev, as we've seen, once Joshua took away the jab, he looked very amateur. Not amateur, but he looked very basic. It didn't seem that he had much there, which is why people are questioning what kind of Pulev turned up, if his head was there or not. And it sort of took away from Joshua's performance because his opponent didn't look very good. He didn't know what to do in there. Eventually, he just kept lunging in with 1-2s, 1-2s, 1-2s. You saw Joshua roll under every time because you could see it coming from a mile away. There's another big heavyweight he likes to throw a lot of 1-2s that you can see coming from a mile away that people say would beat Joshua. But to me, it's those little things, seeing Joshua avoid the 1-2 million times. He even spun off like Billy Joe Saunders in one of them and just made him miss completely. And it shows you that although people think Joshua is easy to hit and a stiff robotic target, he's not actually that easy. His feet are his best defense. 9 times out of 10 is going to be out of range for you to hit him. Of course, the big fight everyone wants to talk about is the Fury fight, where Fury is much taller and longer than Joshua, better control of distance, better jab than Pulev anyway, and it will be interesting to see how Joshua can use those things that he's learnt going into this fight to adapt to that one. I think it was the third round where Joshua, he landed a pull counter on Pulev, and that's another thing Joshua was doing. Halfway through the first round, Pulev threw a lazy jab and Joshua leaned back. He threw the pull counter, but it missed. But it made Pulev know, if I throw any lazy jabs out there, this 6'6" brick shithouse is about to hit me back with a right hand. And that makes someone very cautious to throw literally their best weapon, which is what he took away Pulev's strengths right from the first round. The third round, he done it again, but this time it landed, and that signaled the beginning of the end in that round. Pulev, I think he's a bit crazy. I think he had a bit extra in his system because he was acting very out of character during the build-up and in the fight. He gets hit with a big right hand and decides to laugh and start shouting into the crowd. And I don't know what that was all about, but it made it entertaining. But the only thing is, after he started shouting, he got dropped by an uppercut about 20 seconds later, which isn't exactly the best thing. To give all that macho man energy that you're not hurt and then you get put on the floor 30 seconds later, it's not a good look. Yeah, that was the third round. So in the fourth, during that round, Joshua, he expended a lot of energy. And during the fourth, fifth, sixth, you could see he had to slow down. Of course, having that much muscle means the lactic acid builds up and you can't do what you want to do, basically. And he had to slow down. A few people gave Pulev those rounds where Joshua slowed down. To me, he was still controlling the fight. He was jabbing Pulev to the body a lot, waiting to set up an overhand right late in the fight. And obviously, the jab to the body, it doesn't look too effective. But I'm telling you now, if you let me jab you in your body 4, 5, 6 times around, it's going to take a lot out of you. Although it's not the flashy things you want to see, it's the effective things that helped make Pulev tired later in the fight. So yeah, Joshua was banking on the body. Would have been nicer to see him throw a couple right hands or left hooks to the body. Joshua doesn't go to the body very well. The only time I've seen him go to the body is when someone hits him to the body and he thinks, oh shit, that's a bit effective. Like, that hurts. It takes the wind out your cells. So to see someone that big, that heavy-handed go to the body would have been better. But the jab to the body was enough. The jab upstairs kept Pulev at bay. He out-jabbed Pulev, which a lot of people wouldn't have expected going into the fight. But it seems like he's not getting the credit for that. During the fight, Joshua, you can see sometimes he was getting frustrated and he'll throw like a 4 or 5 punch flurry and Pulev will just tuck up very well. Joshua, at those moments, he didn't go to the body at any time, which is something he has to work on, especially if he wants to fight Tyson Fury. He's not just going to outbox Fury. He's gonna have to land to the body, hope the stuff he does early on pays dividends in the later rounds. So yeah, sometimes he was just thinking, you know, I'm just gonna flurry for a couple uppercuts. Some of them landed, some of them didn't. Pulev's chin was very tough and he wasn't deterred from it. I remember Joshua, Klitschko, and a lot of the heavyweights, they have one sparring partner in common. I can't remember his name. He said Joshua hits hard, but Klitschko hits about 4 times harder than Joshua. So when you've had Klitschko hit you, then you go to Joshua, you're thinking, I felt this kind of power before. I felt better power. I know I can take it, which is what Pulev probably thought. So he probably wasn't too hurt from those punches, but the build up and the accumulation of them meant in the 9th round when he got hit with that uppercut and his legs weren't quite there, it was all over from that point on. He got up, he tried valiantly to continue, but obviously he was unable to. Yeah, he got caught with a clean 1-2 at the end and it was lights out from there. The referee seemed like he was going to let him keep going, which I don't know why, because he took a lot of punishment during that fight. Even the 3rd round, if the referee would have stopped it there, not many people would have complained because Pulev looked quite out of it. But credit to him for getting up and keep trying. But yeah, the referee stopped it at a good time. Even after the fight, you can still see some of the machismo there. I don't know what they're doing after the bell, but it was good to see the respect between them after the fight. A lot of people talk about this wasn't the old Anthony Joshua that we've seen. So I want to talk about the old Joshua versus the new Joshua. The old Joshua, what people are saying, was just a guy who came forward, throws lots of punches, steamrolling his opponents, which I do not see. Early in his career, when he's fighting journeymen and people below him, yeah, I understand that. But if you look at the Dominic Breazeale fight, it was a systematic beatdown over a long time. There was no point in the fight where Joshua really pressed him to get the knockout. John Molina, it was the same situation, but when Molina got hit, he couldn't handle the power, and then he got laid out. It wasn't Joshua going 100 miles per hour to just try to take him out. Joseph Parker, there's no point in that fight where he actually tried to take Parker out. This has always been Joshua's style. Just so happens that when he does have someone hurt, he's one of the best finishers, so then he does pile it on. Against Pulev in the 3rd round, we saw in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, he was quite tired and he had to recover his energy again. So if he would have literally tried to go out for Pulev and knock him out, and if he would have got caught or if he would have gassed out, people would have criticised him for getting caught or gassed out. So he thought, you know what, I need to win this fight, how I'm going to win it, which is what he's been doing his whole career. But what I'll say with the new Joshua, we're seeing a more conservative style in terms of he throws a lot more jabs, which at his height and range makes perfect sense. He boxes on the back foot from time to time. He's not just trying to press the action and get the knockout. Essentially what you're saying is you don't like Joshua being a boxer if you don't like the new Joshua, but he started his career late. He's had to learn these things on the fly, and now he's really becoming a boxer. He's using the jab, he's using feints, he's using subtle head movements, and he's more nuanced in his game, which can only be a good thing going forward. Against someone like Fury, you don't just want to be that same stiff robotic guy that just charges forward trying to land his power punches. You need more to your game, and that's what he's trying to add. He's trying to add more defensive things, parrying the jab, jab to the body, those kind of things. Those are the kind of things he needs to build up and develop if he wants to beat Fury. Yeah, that's that one done. Let's go to the undercard. Lawrence Okolie with a dominant performance against an opponent that I can't name. But yeah, he looked good. It was a replacement opponent. He was meant to be fighting for a world title. Obviously people pulled out and then he had what was in front of him. Now again, I want to talk about the subtle improvements Okolie's made. Okolie is about, I think he's 6'4", 6'5", so he's a massive cruiserweight. He's long and he's got good power. So what you need is an active jab, obviously come behind with the right hand and keep the distance. One thing I noticed before in his career, anytime someone comes close to him, he's just going to hold on for dear life. I don't think he knows what he's doing on the inside. But he's been with Shane McGuigan, he's been working in the gym, and you can see that he was very active with the jab, keeping his opponent at bay. And when his opponent did come close, he'll either try to punish him with a right hand, or sometimes they did hold, but he was genuinely trying to keep the distance, which we haven't seen before. Okolie at long range is a very big problem for anyone. He spars with Joshua, he spars with Fury, he gets high level sparring. So when he's with an opponent that's not gonna be able to handle him at range, you're gonna see what you saw on Saturday night. A very dominant performance and he looked very good. Another heavyweight on the undercard was Hughie Fury. He fought Mariusz Wach. To me, it wasn't the greatest of performances. I haven't rated Hughie Fury too highly. He doesn't seem very confident in himself and his own abilities, and it's just, he doesn't seem like a champion. The way he carries himself, the way he fights. He was fighting an old man in Wach who was never the greatest. He's always a gatekeeper for the division, and he roughed up Fury. He was landing some very heavy, meaty shots. That was a big punch in the division. Fury would have been in big trouble. We've seen Fury fall short against Povetkin. We've seen him fall short against Pulev as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes forward, but will he be a threat in the heavyweight division? I don't think so. Let's move over to America. We had Shakur Stevenson fighting Tony Clary. Another very good performance for Shakur Stevenson. I think he won literally every single round. He won every second of every round. Shakur, I don't know if I would say I saw many improvements in his game, because he's such a good fighter where he can do pretty much most things in the ring. The only thing I want to see from him is more body work where he's setting up things for later. So what I mean by that is when he's doing all his jabbing and his left hands, sometimes that left hand to the body, sometimes whip it straight down the gut or around the side to the liver, and then eventually your opponent's guard is going to come down and then you whip it one over the top when he's not expecting it. It's the punches that you don't see that are going to hurt the most. So if he doesn't have that knockout power that most people do, he's going to have to manifest it through other ways, which is deceiving your opponent into not seeing a punch coming and then landing it, and that's going to have his opponent in trouble. Build up more body work to dismantle his opponent. Like Floyd Mayweather, he's not known as a great body puncher, but in every single fight he does go to the body very, very well. It's those stinging shots to the body over a constant period of time that's going to break an opponent down. Mayweather always says, I might not have that 10, but I'll break it down with 6s and 7s. And that's why in the last 4 rounds of pretty much every Mayweather fight, he wins all of the last 4. Because he's going to outlast you, he's got more stamina than you, and he's going to deposit to the body and set things up for later, which is always going to work. Shakur Stevenson, he needs that in his arsenal if he's going to contend with the big guys. I posted on him versus Gervonta Davis. At this age in the career, Gervonta's a much more seasoned pro. He has a lot more power. He can punch with Stevenson. If Stevenson ever wants to beat an opponent like that, he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to deposit to the body. He's going to have to really add different dimensions to his game where he's not just going for one thing constantly. Even if it's working, you're going to have to try, adapt and change and give your opponent different looks and not the same thing over again. Because when you do come up against an opponent where that first look isn't working, it doesn't seem like he has a plan B. Although his talent is pitched very high and it is working for him, and I don't see many opponents who can stop him, once he does get in there with someone who can stop that plan A, he's going to have to learn that plan B. On the undercard, there was Felix Verdejo. He fought against Nakatani, fought Lopez, and he gave him a very good fight, pushed him far. People were very disappointed in that Lopez performance, but now we can see the opponent wasn't as bad as we believed. He knocks out Felix Verdejo. I think it was the 9th or the 10th round. He was dropped in the 1st round and in the 4th round, but he came back to beat Verdejo. I've never rated Verdejo very, very highly. I don't know why Top Rank is so fixated on building this guy's career. He's going to continue to take losses. This probably was his last chance, to be honest with you, and he did not take it at all. I remember he had a lot of time off. He came back bulky and with spots on his back. So there's only one reason for that. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're going to have to find out. So yeah, he done all of those things that he shouldn't have been doing, came back and he's still taking losses. It's sad to see. He was a Puerto Rican star. They wanted to build him up as the next Miguel Cotto, but he isn't that. His chin and his stamina always seem to let him down. So that's him done. Another exciting prospect on the undercard was Edgar Berlanga. I think he's now 17-0 with 17 knockouts. I think either 16 or 17, all of them in the 1st round. So he's got big power. You can see some of the opponents that they're bringing in there have never been stopped. But as soon as they take 2 punches from him, they're thinking, God, what have I got myself into? His power is real. We're yet to see his skills because he hasn't really needed to show it. As soon as he has his guy hit, they're hurt. So it'll be interesting to see him against a prospect, how they move him going forward. He needs to fight. Doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's pitched to fight for a world title. It could be a solid prospect or someone who's had like a couple losses on their resume, who was touted to do good things. It would be interesting to see him against someone like that. Another one on the undercard was Robeisy Ramirez, Cuban amateur standout. I think he was a 2-time gold medalist or a 1-time gold medalist. He actually beat Shakur Stevenson. He got the gold, Shakur got the silver. He started his pro career very poorly. He lost his first fight somehow against a journeyman, but he has avenged that loss since, and he has looked good since. It will be interesting to see how he develops. Him and Shakur, clearly they're trying to build that fight up. He's been fighting on a lot of his undercards, so it'll be interesting to see how a fight between them pans out. Yeah, Ramirez, very skilled, very good fighter, and we'll see how his career goes going forward. That's pretty much all the fights rounded up. We're gonna come back with another episode at some point next week, and yeah, we'll preview the Canelo fight. We will preview whoever else is on the undercard. We'll talk about some of the news, some of the pay-per-view buys for Joshua. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones done 1.6 million pay-per-view buys. That is madness. That is mad. I don't know how they done that. Well, it is Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones, but they done very well. They made a lot of money that night. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this new series, whether you want more. We'll try to get you 2 a week maybe. So like, comment, subscribe, give us your feedback. Thank you for watching.